What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.
Hey folks, how are you today? I'm your host, BKP. Welcome to BKP Politics, a little nugget of truth today. It is Friday, October 6th, right? 2026, Friday. Now, let me explain. Yesterday, thank you very much, because that was our first broadcast we put out on our new Substack, and we put it on Rumble and YouTube, and we shared it on our X account. But that was the first one right here in the studio, working solo, starting the year that way. So let me explain a couple things to you before we get started. I'm your host, BKP, voice of rural America. I have a monitor over here that I'm going to be going to. I have some things happening over here on this monitor, right? And I have some pictures, some graphics we're going to put up today. They're not the best. Diane has to give me a training. We're going to do a training where she shows me how to work on my graphics. But we're going to power through. Now, let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. And before we get started, I always tell you, first of all, I will not carry a politician's water. I will not. I won't do it. Will not do it. You cannot buy a narrative. All right. Won't carry a politician's water. So if you go to the meaning to carry water, to carry someone's water does indeed mean to occupy a subservient position, to do the bidding, the menial task, and frequently the dirty work for someone. Now, we have a lot of grifters in Georgia. They do carry politicians' water. What I do every single day is I go through all the social media and I look at who's running a narrative and who's carrying the water and who's trying to get the message out for a politician. And I study that every day. So let me tell you some of the things we're going to get into. All right, here's some of the things we're going to get into today. The 14th district in Georgia 14th district, the one where Marjorie Taylor Green resigned, and we have a jungle primary coming up and a Trump endorsement. We're going to talk about that. The 11th district, Barry Loudermilk has, Congressman Barry Loudermilk from the 11th district said, hey, I'm not going to run again. I'm not going to run again. I'm not going to seek re-election. So that's an open seat. On the 11th district, I'm going to do something I've never, big day, I've never done this in my entire political career. I've always said I would never do it. I'm going to do it today. The 10th district, we'll talk about that for a couple minutes today. But the core of what I want to get to is the great property tax, income tax 2026 political stunt under the gold dome. Okay? That's what we're going to talk about for the most part. Now, Georgia legislative session is in full swing. We're going to study the amended budget that just got passed this weekend. All right? We're going to do that. But right now we have so many under the gold dome that are running for office. They're running for state senate. They're running for state house. They're trying to fill positions where three of our state senators are running for lieutenant governor. one constitutional officer, Brad Raffensperger, like him or not, Secretary of State's running for governor. Our Attorney General's running for governor. Our Lieutenant Governor is running for Governor Burt Jones. So we have what I call it just a convoluted mess under the Gold Dome. Now remember, before we left for Christmas, I told you this legislative session would have more, absolutely more political stunts, since I've been studying politics in Georgia. I'm serious. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with, all right, I'm going to start with some of my graphics. I've numbered them. I will try to stay focused today, all right? I will try to stay focused. I want to start with some of my graphics. We're going to talk about the SAVE Act. We're going to talk about, sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are just sanctuary corruption. That's it, sanctuary corruption. We're going to talk about Fulton County, all right, the amended budget, and I'm going to go one step at a time. Let's try this together. So, right here, we have the Republican candidates for governor. We're going to start right here. We have the Republican candidates for governor. And as you well know, and I'm going to be going over to this screen from time to time, right? We have to the far left, Chris Carr. Now, Clark Dean is a wealthy businessman in Atlanta. I'm going to say this in the nicest way. I've never personally met him. I've had a couple phone conversations with Clark Dean. Unless he's going to come up with the kind of money Rick Jackson, because Clark Dean entered the race as the businessman, the outsider, the non-politician, but it seems like Rick Jackson entering the race, Jackson Healthcare CEO, kind of like dwarfs, reduces Clark Dean's relevance in the race. So I don't know that Mr. Dean should save his money, put it in his pocket, and go home. But it's America. If he wants to run for office, go ahead. Now, to the far left again, that's, yes, far left, no pun intended. That's Chris Carr, the Attorney General. Then you have right there Rick Jackson, who put out a couple days ago, announced that he is running for governor, and announced that he's put $50 million, and independent businessman. Burt Jones, right next to him, the lieutenant governor. Now, Burt Jones has the endorsement, Donald Trump's endorsement. He has Donald Trump's endorsement. He's the lieutenant governor. And the political stunts under the Gold Dome all lead back right now, for the most part, for the governor's race, driving it right back to Burt Jones. We'll get into that in a minute. But Rick Jackson is spending a lot of money trying to convince you and let you see that he is a true Trump supporter. Now, the Burt Jones campaign immediately is going after Rick Jackson, saying he's a never Trumper and he's a best friend kind of. They're alluding to that, trying to draw the connection that he's like really close friends with Jeff Duncan, who was Republican lieutenant governor of Georgia, who is now a declared Democrat running for governor as a Democrat. Really getting, wow, hard to keep up with here in Georgia, but I can do it. So Burt Jones campaign trying to tie Rick Jackson as a never Trumper to Jeff Duncan, the Democrat now who's running for governor. Wow. Say that 3 times fast. So right now, in the governor's race, Donald Trump is right in the middle of those two, Burt Jones and Rick Jackson. Now, my sources say that Rick Jackson is doing everything he can to try to pry Donald Trump away from Burt Jones. Now, I don't know if that's exactly true. These are sources. You know how politics works. But at the same time, there may be something there because the Burt Jones campaign is really peppering Rick Jackson. Hey, you are Nikki Haley's friend. You're Mitt Romney's friend. You're Jeb Bush's friend. You're Jeff Duncan's friend. You're no friend of Donald Trump. You're a never Trumper. So they are trying to push that. Now, Brad Raffensperger, interesting. Now, Rob Pitts of Fulton County says that he was tipped off, you can't make this up, in Fulton County about the, it wasn't a raid. I don't like the raid, okay? It wasn't like Mar-a-Lago where they went into Trump's home there in Mar-a-Lago. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like 5 a.m. in the morning with CNN and Roger Stone, right? But there was a warrant served and they removed the ballots. Period. That's it. That's all that happened. Well, not all that happened. But the chair commissioner of Fulton County, Rob Pitts, said he was tipped off days in advance, gave them enough time to position themselves, let's say, in Fulton County, right? Or maybe is a question mark, remove things because there's missing ballots. We'll get to that in a minute. Brad Raffensperger, there is a lot of talk that the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, a lot of talk, a lot of smoke, that he may get indicted. We're going to keep up with this, all right? So, a lot of talk there. Now, I have to tell you on the very end, and not to say, you know, Ken Yasgur, this is a nice man. He's running for governor. He's a very, very nice man. I actually really like that guy. But Brad Raffensperger, Brad Raffensperger right there, may get indicted. Just saying. So that's the governor's race. Now, let's go over to, let's see, how does this work now? There we go. We'll try that. Now, don't forget, when it comes to Burt Jones, now I'm going to tell you this. The party, the Republican Party, the establishment within the party, they're all scrambling. Don't forget, Josh McCoon, the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, remember when Burt Jones held a fundraiser for Josh McCoon? You can't make this up. Let's go to the next one. Now, right now, this is Josh McCoon, the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party. It's Sally Grubbs, the first vice chair. Or the Oscar goes to, for the political stunt and the drama of the year, to Sally Grubhub for all of her media appearances. And her role on the state election board, where she was put on there just in time, trying to bring MAGA in line for Burt Jones. She was appointed by Burt Jones. So this is just my opinion. Want to be careful here. I might get wound up. I want to be careful. Just my opinion. Don't know, but it's politics, baby. Maybe it's a real benefit to Josh McCoon, maybe, and Sally Grubbs for, right, for Burt Jones to be elected governor. It may be a real benefit to them. I'm just saying. Okay? Now, remember, Georgians for Integrity. These people have already spent $14 million. $14 million. Now, Josh McCoon is out everywhere with a spyglass. He's out everywhere, the Georgia GOP, chairman looking for Georgians for Truth. Because they've already spent about $14 million going after, and they're blaming possibly, they throw the question mark in there, that Rick Jackson has funded this, but they're going after Burt Jones. Data center, certificate of need, hospital, enriching the family. Don't forget. Now moving right along, all right? Just a little side note. This right here is Caleb Conway, right? That's his name? Caleb Conway. Looks like a nice young man. Now, we do know in the Georgia Republican Party, this is the new executive director. So I have been around the Georgia Republican Party, and it really smokes their ears to hear me say 20 years, 15 years, or whatever. They can't stand that, right? They can't stand that. But this is the new executive director of the Georgia Republican Party, Caleb Conway. Well, what county is he from? Who's his neighbors, right? Where did he go to high school in Georgia? Did he go to UGA? No. Once again, the Georgia Republican Party cannot go with the homegrown. We seem to not have the talent. I think his last job was in Washington, D.C., for the National Chamber of Commerce. I think he worked, look him up, do your research. I think he worked for the National Chamber of Commerce. I just do. Just saying, right? So did Josh meet him at a dinner party, the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party? Or was he recommended for Georgia? Because, see, Georgia Republican Party is not run by the Georgia Republican Party executive director, or maybe the executive director, that would be him, but the executive committee. It's not. That's all a front. Now, a lot of people are going to get mad at me for saying that, but it is. We always reach out, right? And we get recommendations. So our new executive director, why, he's not from South Georgia. He's not from, that I'm aware of, North Georgia. He's not from Athens. No, his last job was with the National Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C. Maybe a very nice young man. I don't know. Moving right along. Now, Lieutenant Governor. So in the governor's race, we'll stay up with that. But Lieutenant Governor, I want to show you a couple things here, because I'm tired of political stunts. I will not go down the road of political stunts. I watch these people. They all have political aspirations, right? You see Sally Grubbs, you see Josh, right? I'm going to name some people. They all are furthering their political career. I can't stand political careers. I can't stand it. Right. But they all have aspirations not to save the country. No. That's not what it's about. They all want to further and elevate themselves in the political corporate class, the political industrial complex. Politics is $1 trillion industry. Yes, it is. It's $1 trillion industry. So, here are our lieutenant. Now, we're going to get into the property tax. So, I'm just going to run through some stuff here very quickly. I'm trying to, like I say, I'm trying to work two. There you go. So, on the far left, we have David Clark. We'll get into David Clark on a different day. We have Steve Gooch in the center, state senator in the center square. We have John Kennedy there, where there is a runoff in a special election down there around Macon. He was state senator in that district. He resigned to run for lieutenant governor. Let me get this clear. And then we have Blake Tillery, the fair-haired, nice young man. And he is. He's a nice guy. I mean, I don't dislike the guy. But here are the cast or the candidates. When I say cast, because it's always a show, right? But here are the candidates seeking to be the next lieutenant governor of Georgia. Oh, we got a lot going on a daily basis. So let me see. I'll get the right mouse here. Now, I've had people say to me, why do you call this guy Greg the Weasel? Now, I've got a question for you. I really do. This is sincere. This is Rob Pitts. Rob, I think it's Rob Pitts. And Rob Pitts, wait a minute, let's see if I can find him in another picture and we'll go back. Let's go to that one. Then we'll go back. So this is Rob Pitts on the screen. Fulton County, Georgia Chair Rob Pitts got a call tipping him off 3 days before a raid there would be an arrest over election crimes. My sources tell me the Justice Department has already or will be getting a warrant for Pitts' phone records to uncover leakers' identities. Now, this guy right here, you can go listen to the video. He is the chair of Fulton County. Now, the 2020 election, if someone is trying to, the deep state, right? The deep state is trying to completely take down this country, completely take us down. In fact, in 2020, it's so bad, we have a plandemic, and then we have an attack on our election system, and then we have a guy, Joe Biden, the first, second, third, we don't know how many Joe Bidens they are, and then we have an auto pen, and then we're told 81 million votes goes to this guy, a record even beating Barack Hussein Obama. Just can't make it up. And that's your president. Which equals, right? Can't get these guys in the Hall of Fame because they juiced up and stole an election. End of story, right? Well, if one of the top, in my opinion, what I think will be one of the top criminals, why would you run to take a picture? Now, this picture is not 10 years old. It's not. This picture's not old. This picture's fairly recent. This is Greg the Weasel Dolezal. Why would you run? I mean, I know I am going to get so much slack over this comment, but I wouldn't run to say, hey, Charles Manson, let's grab a picture together. What? I wouldn't run to see if I could find, well, who else could we bring up? Bernie Madoff. Hey, Bernie Madoff! Can we get a quick picture together? Hey, Brant Frost IV from First Liberty Building and Loan. Hey, can I get a quick picture with you? Right? Come on. It's not, look, this guy here, Greg Dolezal, state senator, running for lieutenant governor, this is a recent picture of him and Rob Pitts. Now, everywhere I turn, hey, the guy is running for lieutenant governor. My words, he's pretending to be engaged now, right? Pretending to be engaged. Goes over to the UPS store, goes over here, look at how many people are registered to vote. You know, you don't have to wait to do the right thing. You don't. You don't have to wait. But what people think is they do the right thing like this. These kind of people think, I'll do the right thing when I can maximize the benefit for myself. You ready? You see, this guy in the picture, right? Let me see, right? Let's get that straight right there. That guy in the picture, Greg Dolezal, he is giving floor speeches. Oh, yes, his friend. Now, he has totally endorsed Burt Jones. 100%. I was in the room. He was asked a question. Greg Dolezal was asked a question. And the question was, hey, who do you support for governor? And I have the video, very bold. It wasn't me, somebody in the room. And he said, I'm 100%. That's not a quote, but I'm 100% behind Burt Jones. 100%. I'm behind Burt Jones. So don't think that this guy does not do any political stunts that Lieutenant Governor, running for governor, Burt Jones is not aware of. Don't think. All right? I'd just like to get a counter on the screen that would tell me how many people are really mad at me right now. But let's move on because, as you well know, if you're new to the show, I did not get up this morning wondering who likes me. I hope people like me. Sorry, that was a little out of line, but moving right along. Now, this guy here. Every time I turn around, he's doing floor speeches. Why didn't he do the floor speeches last year? Why didn't he do those floor speeches the year before? Right? Then he's going and he's finding Jason Frazier, which Jason Frazier is a great guy, great patriot. God bless you, Jason Frazier. But he's finding him. He's going to the UPS store and he's going here and he's saying, hey, look at how many people are registered to this store in a post box. How many? Well, Greg, let me break it to you. We have known that for years and years and years. But you didn't do floor speeches. Now, one more time, these people think that they will hold what they know and do the right thing when they know they can maximize benefit for themselves. Right? We have to get back to people serving, not self-benefiting, right? Not self. And that's what really upsets me here. Now, here's another one. I'll give you this one really quick, okay? And we'll move on. While families get crushed by rising energy costs, that's what it says on the screen. While families get crushed by rising energy costs, data centers get sweetheart tax deals. Greg, you do realize that Burt Jones is woven into data centers. You do realize the guy you're supporting for governor, not anymore, not on my watch. I'm filing an amendment so counties and cities can raise millage rates on data centers and cut them for everyone else. That is a political stunt. Absolutely. I'm tired of them. I will not, at the risk of life and limb, allow any of these people to get elected on political stunts. I won't do it. That is, let me tell you something. The data centers, okay? It takes years of planning. It does. It takes a long time to get all the wheels turning to start building these data centers. This guy knew this last year. They knew it the year before that. But it wasn't until somebody said to him, hey, we got a problem with these sweetheart tax deals on data centers. So just saying, I have no use for political stunts. Here we go. This is Rob Pitts, right? He was tipped off 3 days in advance. And what do we have in Fulton County as we're moving along? Let me get this one up here. an American hero / patriot in my book any day, Dr. Jan Johnston, the co-chair of the Georgia State Election Board. Where are the 50 boxes of ballots and election documents? Fulton County clerk and election director claim they had 700, but they don't. 50 boxes are missing. 50 boxes, right? Rob Pitts tipped off 3 days in advance. Just saying. Greg Dolezal, thumbs up. All right, so moving right along. Let me get this moving right along. I gotta get to what's next here. What do I have here? All right, so don't forget, we'll get into this more on Monday. Today is Friday, but never forget, Brian Kemp, the 2020 election in Georgia was not stolen. Don't forget that. That's what's on the screen. I don't know that you can read it, and I know my graphics are all over. 2020 election, for nearly 3 years now, anyone with evidence or fraud has failed to come forward under oath and prove anything in court of law. Our elections in Georgia are secure, accessible, and fair, and will continue to be as long as I'm governor. The future of our country is at stake in 2024 and must be our focus. Interesting. A large, complex, detailed, but unrefuted report on presidential election fraud which took place in Georgia is almost complete. Well, I'll tell you what. But don't forget, Brian Kemp said, hey, no election fraud here. But Joe Rossi, another American hero, right? A patriot, Joe Rossi. I have this letter here. Remember this. Moving right along. Dear members of the State Election Board, November 17, 2021, I'm writing to refer the following matter to the board for its review and consideration. The highlighted area, the 36 inconsistencies noted by Mr. Rossi are factual in nature. You see, Brad Raffensperger, Ron Pitts knew in November. Brad Raffensperger knew, the Secretary of State. Joe Rossi and Kevin Moncla, their report, and their other names, I don't want to leave people out. God bless the Patriots of Georgia that did not give up. Not the grifters out there. No, not you grifters. The real patriots that did not give up. 36 inconsistencies noted by Mr. Rossi as factual in nature pose no underlying theories outside of the report data. It could not be explained by my office after thorough review detailed below. The purpose of the letter is to convey these inconsistencies to the board, that's the Board of Elections, and request them be explained corrected. The cover-up, not just the ballots, not just the 50 boxes missing, not the tabulator tapes that are unsigned, it's the cover-up. The cover-up, the crime. Let me see what this one is. The SAVE Act. I just want to put this out quickly before we go into property tax. The SAVE Act. Now, American elections are rigged. That's what Donald Trump, right? Stolen and a laughing stock all over the world. This is the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. American elections are rigged, stolen, and laughingstock all over the world. We are either going to fix them or we won't have a country any longer. I am asking all Republicans to fight for the following. Now, this is, I personally, okay, I'm going to tell you what this is about. I personally, I don't want to federalize elections. I want the state to have control of the elections. I just want to clean them up. Washington State, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Georgia, California, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, whatever, Wisconsin, list goes on. But this is making it very tough because we can't have stolen elections. But I don't want to lose control. It's constitutional. The states oversee the election. But we are at a, what did Joe Biden used to say? An inflection point. Remember when we always had an inflection point? I am asking all Republicans to fight for the following, the SAVE Act. All voters must show voter ID. Now that's pretty simple. That should be a given. Every state in the United States, anywhere you vote legally in America, I see zero problem with showing some sort of ID. And I don't want to hear the argument of the little old lady that doesn't have an ID that's 90. I don't want to hear that. Okay? Seriously, I don't want to. Period. Voter ID is important. All voters must show proof of United States citizenship to register for voting. Now, this is important, and I'm going to tell you why. A, yes, we only want United States citizens to vote in our election. But I'm going to give you why we want the SAVE Act passed. Now, the ones that are arguing, right, about this is going to be real. Hang on. The ones that are arguing that this is not constitutional, the ones that are saying we can't do this, right? We're going to show you right now the relevance and why this has to be done now. All voters must show proof of United States citizenship to register to vote. And then last, no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. All right, I'm on board with all of that. I don't argue with anything there. But what's important here and why we need this to pass and the President of the United States to sign it is because we have a census coming up, right? We have a census coming up. Now, in 2020, President Trump tried to get the citizen question, right? President Trump tried to get the citizen question on the census. Supreme Court knocked it down. Said you got to count everybody. Folks, I have said this multiple times. Multiple times. We have, I'm going to just say, we have 2 million people out of the 30 million. We hear 30 million came in the country. We've got 2 million people in Georgia that came across that border. I don't know that, throwing it out. Now, if memory serves me right, a congressional seat is what? 750,000 people? I don't know, something like that, right? 750 or 900,000. But if you have 2 million people, that's 2 congressional seats just in Georgia alone. Alone. Right? Think about it. And think about what a census is going to do to this country in 2030 when those people are incorporated in the population and we start divvying up congressional districts in America. It's very important we get the proof of citizenship in a law that Donald Trump passes and signs now. Watch it coming down the road. Watch it coming down the road. I just want to put that out. This has legs, as I call it. You'll see it in the future. Now, what do we got here? Let's go to, and let's take a couple minutes to talk about the homestead property exemption, right? So, Speaker John Burns, all of a sudden, now keep this in mind, all of a sudden, and I mean all of a sudden, property tax is an issue. Assessments are through the roof. Millage rate is up. So, I will show you this in a minute. So let's talk about property tax exemption, because all you hear down in Atlanta right now is a political stunt. Now, I'm going to ask you right now today, please, whatever you do, we have to walk and chew gum at the same time. They are down in Atlanta. Brian Kemp is not going to ride off into the sunset quietly. He's not. He's not the lame duck you think he is. He has the red pen. He will veto. Now, the House, under John Burns, the Speaker of the House, they will bow up and sound like they're pushing back. And the Senate will sound like they're pushing back. But at the end of the day, all three chambers, the House, the Senate, and the governor's office, are lockstep in changing, keep this in mind, changing the total, how they collect taxes, the structure from you and I in this state. And they're cheering, and they purchased, yes, now I don't know who's getting paid, how they get paid, but my opinion is they've purchased a lot of cheerleaders. Social media, this came out, right? John Burns held a big press conference. Probably your member of your state house was at the press conference. House Republicans announced plan to eliminate property tax January 28, 2026. Georgia House Republicans. Why, how could you not cheer for that, right? So we're going to look at that in a minute. That comes out. You keep hearing they want to eliminate. They want to eliminate state income tax, right? And they want to eliminate homestead property tax. Sounds good. Now the Senate. Here's the Senate bill, SB 382, right? Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones applauds Senate passage of property tax reform. And we'll show you here, this is SB, right? 349 and SB 382. Okay. So they applaud that. And then you have on the screen, you have all of the co-sponsors. Everybody's excited. Now, this is already passed in the Senate. Go read this bill. Now, we get to, I'm pretty sure this is HB. It's hard to keep up with. I'm telling you now. So here is, I think I have on the screen, I should have HB. Give me just a second here. This is HB 1116. Now, HB 1116, Homeownership Opportunity and Market Equalization Act of 2026. John Burns, Matt Hatchett, they have proposed this. Go read this 21 pages, all right? And you go read the 21 pages. This is HB 1116. Now, let's go back here to House Republicans putting this out as far as homestead property tax. Remember, was it HB 518, right? Remember HB 518. And it was a constitutional amendment. Now, I want to do this and not get it so convoluted, and I hate to say that it's hard to understand. Because what they do is they put these summaries out. And they write summaries to put on the ballot that just sound amazing. Right? But this bill here, this 1116, HB 1116, is 23 pages. And I'm going to look you in the eye. I don't understand it. I have 4 people reading this bill now that's way above my pay grade. Yeah, I'll say it. They keep telling me they don't understand it. I know House members, and I know how this works. This is why they don't like your host here. I know House members. And this is how it works. You're told you're going to get on board. Yes. And if you choose to push back, bow up, whatever, stand up for yourself, that bill you want to get passed, or that funding for your local library, it's how it works. Or that funding for your roads, yes. They don't make it to the floor for a vote. You can't get your bills on the floor. So when you see John Burns' name on a bill, the Speaker of the House, they held a press conference. I think almost every House member was there, especially the Republican side. And then that day, all of your lawmakers. Ask your House member. Ask them. Have you read HB 1116? All 23 pages. If so, can you tell me how it works? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to look in the eye and tell you, the majority of these House members, and I mean majority, A, haven't read it. They were just told by John Burns they were going to get on board. And when anybody asked them, they like it. And it's great. We're going to eliminate property tax for homestead exemption. That's it. Do you understand it? Well, I wasn't told to understand it. I was told I was happy. That's how it works. I was told I'm happy. I'm excited. That's what I was told. So, we're going to look at that, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions on that. So, let me see where I'm at. Let me make sure. Okay. So, let me get to this. And I'm trying to work 2 computers and everything. So, hold on here, Baba Louie. I'll do the kathunkin around here. House Republicans announced plan to eliminate property tax. So, property tax. I know. I have said so 18 times. I know that. So, big deal. Now, property tax. So, your county. You have Fulton County, you have Gwinnett County, you have Cobb County, and you have Cherokee County, an enormous county. Very large counties. But let's go to the small rural counties, and let's use a small number just to get through this. Let's say 20 million. You good with 20? All right. So your board of commissioners brings in 20 million. Let me write this down. Every year. That's what they bring in. They say your commission, they set the millage rate. And they say, hey, you know what? We bring in 20 million because that's what we need. Parks, recreation, law enforcement, run the courthouse, fix the roads, whatever. So they bring in 20 million, and then your school system, don't laugh out there. I just want to use regular small numbers. They bring in 15 million. Okay. Then you have splost, e-splost, lost. Yeah, you got a penny for lost. Local option sales tax, you got a penny. You got splost, special purpose tax, and then you got a flossed. You're able to get a floss. You're able to get a T-splost for transportation. Oh, yeah. A penny here, a penny there, a penny here. Give a penny, take a penny. Bada bing, bada boom. I mean, they're worse than the Salvation Army. No, that's not right. The Salvation Army, those are good people. These are politicians. Big difference. But it's almost like everywhere you go in the shop, you got to drop your pennies in a bucket for splost, T-splost, E-splost, lost, flossed, whatever, right? Now, the majority, not to get too confusing, of your special purpose taxes that it's only a penny, as they tell you, that can only go towards paying for capital improvements, capital projects. It cannot pay salaries. It cannot pay salaries. It can't do that. It can't pay the electric bill. It's defined what it can be used for. Now, one question I have, do these bills that they're passing change the definition of what they can use the penny for? Pay attention to that. Second, so your county brings in $20 million. Stay with me, right? And your county brings in $20 million. Your school brings in 15. Do you know that your county may be a donor county in school tax? Some of your property tax goes towards school. So when you get a property tax bill, you got a property tax bill, you have your county, and you have your school system. Now the school is much higher than the county, but that's your property tax. Do you know that you could possibly be what's called a donor county? That Georgia has several counties in the state that their tax base is nowhere large enough, right, to provide education in that county. So your county may have an abundance. Oh, yeah. So you send a little around the state of your money to other counties. Oh, yes, it's a donor county. Look it up, ask questions. Ask your state lawmaker, hey, is there such thing as a donor county for education in Georgia? Oh, that you'll get a blank stare, but it's true. So keep that in mind. Now, county brings in $20 million. Now, when we did HB 518, we had a constitutional amendment. Now, in the state of Georgia, one more thing on property tax. You can change the rate of tax. There's limits, but you can change the millage rate. You have some green light on fees like building permits, water tap, if you want a water tap. There are areas that you can work within and change without a constitutional amendment. But in the state of Georgia, if you want to change the way you collect tax, it has to be voted on. It has to be a constitutional amendment. You can't just decide, the state just can't pass a law, decide and send it to the county and say, now you have to pay your taxes this way. And that's in the Constitution. All these things are going to argue, but it is. They cannot change the way they collect taxes without a constitutional amendment. That's why. Because there's only one taxing authority, period. And that's why HB 518 was a constitutional amendment. It was a ballot question. And it was going to cap the rate of assessment on your property and couldn't go, I think, higher than 3% at the rate of inflation. I think 63% of Georgians voted yes. But the House, now you trust the House? The Georgia House of Representatives, you trust these people? Because let me tell you what happened. The Senate passed the bill with no opt-out. It went to the House, and the House had the lobbyist in there, the ACCG, right, for the counties, and the GMA, is that it? The Georgia Municipal Association for the cities, and the State School Board Association. They all rushed into, I'm going to suspect, John Burns' office and said, hey, you need to put a stop to this. And just paraphrasing what may have happened behind those closed doors, he said, don't worry about it. You don't have to say a word. Let the people pass it. Now think about what happened. Did they care about the lobbyist and these associations, or did they care about the property tax that you are paying when they passed HB 518, was it? 2 years ago. And you trust them now? Now you trust them? They're going to get it right this time? Now, in my words, they screwed you last time. But, I don't know, do they have some kind of religion that they didn't tell us about now? Because I don't see it. Because the players are the same. Same players. Same field. Kemp. Burt Jones. Who's that guy over in the house? John Burns. So that being said, let me stay focused here. Try to get my focus back. So HB 518, constitutional amendment, they told him, said, hey, don't say anything. You don't have to campaign against it. Keep in mind, no one campaigned against it because all they had to do was opt out. Opt out. And they did. For the most part, these counties, the schools, the cities, and the counties opted out. So let's go back. County gets $20 million, right? $20 million. So are they going to end property tax? Let me say it like this. Are they going to end property tax? Now, on this right here, you can go look at this for yourself. And bring in less money? Are they going to cut their budgets? Are they going to reduce spending? Are they Republicans? Well, they say they're Republicans. They say they're conservatives. They say they're all about limited government. But $20 million. Is it going to go to 18? And you and I are going to get the benefit? Quick facts on the Georgia Home Act. Enables total elimination of homestead property taxes by 2032. Now, this is where I can't stand government. I can't stand it. Provides local governments with tools they need to recover lost revenue with an optional, flexible 5-penny sales tax. Local governments with tools to recover loss. So let me ask you a question. They got $20 million. You with me? They got $20 million. They are not going to lose the $20 million. But they're going to tell you you're not paying property tax. Then those great tools they have to recover losses, who makes up the losses? Why, that would be the people that used to pay property tax. They're just going to make up the losses in a different way. You can't make this up. Now, they want to cut state income tax. Look at Tennessee. What is Tennessee? 11% consumption tax? Look at what our consumption is. We have counties that are already 8%. Right? What is it? State gets 4, is it? Not to speak of the gas tax we pay in this state. We pay an enormous gas tax. Right? So you think about it. 4%, I don't know. State gets, then they get a penny for this, they get a penny for this, they get a penny for this, they get a penny for this. Right? Just saying. We have counties, what are they, 8% counties now? So then you're going to eliminate the state sales tax? And you got to put what? 4% to make that up? Now you're up to 12? And then you're going to give counties the green light to throw another 5? Now we're up to what, 17? So I'm serious. Tell me where I'm wrong. You get rid of the state sales tax. You get rid of the homestead exemption property tax. We're going to be teetering on like 17% tax when you go buy things. I wish the government would just quit helping me. I really do. Please stop helping us. Allows for optional local assessments and fees. Ask your lawmaker what allows for optional local assessments. Assessments of what? And fees. And fees. So I'm not paying property tax, but that camper I wanted to buy, now I got to pay that yearly fee. Or maybe my car tag might go up. Or maybe I might have to pay an additional fee for services. I might get my one time a year services fee for $350 that the county puts on. I'm serious. It says it right here. Allow for optional assessments and fees. Let's see. Frequently asked questions. How does the Georgia Home Act impact local education funding? Schools will have access to up to 2 pennies of local sales tax if needed. Okay. If needed. Do you really think they will say, nah, we don't need it? In most communities, this will fully replace the money currently collected from homestead property tax. In most communities, it will replace it. But, what if it doesn't? So how will local governments continue to provide essential services? Because trust me, the first thing they do is tell you about the services, right? I mean, counties should send you a brochure when you move in. A nice, glossy, 5-page brochure with all the services. Do you know how many times I've gone to a meeting and I've asked lawmakers to please tell me why they have to have so much money? And the first thing they say, they look at me and say, I've had them say, Brian, what services do you think we should cut first? What the hell? Right? Local governments will have access to tools, right? Tools. Assessments for essential services or capital. Yeah. Fees for optional services if needed. They're going to give your counties, your cities, your school system the green light to figure out if they need some special fees. Now, I've got one more thing. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to get back to it Monday. What about, this is right here. You can go read this. Every bit of this you can go read. What about communities that won't be able to make up the loss in homestead taxes with additional sales tax revenue? Now there's a question. The vast majority of communities can replace lost revenue using the flexible local sales tax option. Where did it get the lost revenue from? Under a pillow, under a rock? Where are they finding this lost revenue? Well, they find it from the same damn people that they alleviate the property tax from. Well, that's not exactly true. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe they shift the burden over to young couples. Maybe they shift the burden over to people that are struggling, that's trying to make it, that don't buy a house. You can't make this up. But you know what it is? It's election year. You know what comes with election year? Political stunts, a.k.a. Can't say it. For a small number that can't, the state will provide homestead property tax equalization grants to help make up the difference. Those are so nice. That's nice. How could you not cheer for that? Why, if you're a small number and you're one of those communities that can't make it up, we'll have tax equalization grants to help you make up the difference. We'll say grant, because everybody says, grant? Why, it's a grant. It must have just fell out of the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a grant. Where the hell's the grant money come from? I mean, my God. I mean, it's like looking up at a bird. It's like looking up at bad timing. A grant? Why, they just fall out of the sky. They are. They're amazing. Little birds. They got like a balloon. Like it's just like a stork kind of whole thing. And they just drop that grant. You know, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to start teaching actually where money comes from. And I know how that sounded, but it would be nice. Anyhow, let's move along here. So, for a small number that can't, the state will provide homestead property tax equalization grants to help make up the difference. Guess what? You will become a donor county. You see, when you collect your money, if it's more than what you have requested in your budget that year, it goes to the state revenue coffers and they collect it in and they go, boom, like they have a $20 billion surplus now. They got your money now, $20 billion surplus, and they're going to do us a bunch of favors. I get tired of these damn people. But your money will go into a pot. And then those counties that cannot make up the difference, that need a little helping hand, your money that goes in the pot will go there as a donor county, but they'll be considered equalization grants. Maybe we can call it No County Left Behind. So as I wrap this up, let me say this. So they take the homestead property tax exemption. So you got Mr. So-and-so and Mrs. So-and-so. I'm still going to go with the concept of husband and wife, all right? But you got Mr. So-and-so and you got Mrs. So-and-so, and, they can't afford a house, and they haven't been able to save money, and they don't have the family member that can give them the down payment. I mean, so they struggle a little bit. They're on maybe the lower end of the economic ladder, not being negative. And this guy's working over here for $18, and mom's working for $18. Not bad money, but they rent a house. They got 2 kids. They rent an apartment. And then all of a sudden, or they rent a house and and then the landlord raises the rent, right? And so their rent goes up a little bit. And then every time they go out, they got 2 kids. They go to buy insurance, and there's a fee. They go to buy tires maybe, and the county has put a fee on there. They go to drop their trash off, and the county now, instead of paying $1, raised it to $2, and they're paying this bill. And then they go to the grocery store, and they go to buy clothes, and they go to buy a car, all the above, and they're the ones that are bearing the brunt, right? Yes, they're the young people getting they bear the brunt of this, because remember, they will not do not one thing, to squeeze that 20 mil. And just remember this, for those that argue with me and those that call me names and attack me, right? If this does not change, and this represents the 20 million, if this does not change, it comes from somewhere. It comes from somebody. But trust me, these people, the school system, the counties, the cities, they don't tighten their belt. No. Because the ACCG, for the counties, they have lobbyists down there. The GMA, the Georgia Municipal Association, they have their lobbyists down there. All the cities are a member. And the State School Board Association, their lobbyists are down there. And if you think I'm going to look you in the eye, if the man calls me, I'll come to your office. I will. I've never been in a lawmaker's office or anything where I'm disrespectful. I will come to your office and sit down, and I will respect the office. But let me look right in the camera. If you believe that John Burns is going to go against the GMA, the ACCG, and the State School Board Association, if you think he is, and if you think that 20 million for the county and that 15 million for the Board of Education, there's going to be any cracks in that whatsoever, you're wrong. I'm sorry to be so blunt. You are wrong. It'll come from somewhere. So here's my little prediction. My prediction is, if you pay, we'll use a round number. I know some people live in metro, some people live in rural counties, but let's just say between school taxes, let me put this one up because I got to wrap this up. I got to get out. I've got 2 more things and we got to go. But let me just put this up, right? Now, Blake Tillery, nice young man. Very nice young man, okay? I mean, I keep saying that. He is. I think he's a nice guy. But I have to say, if you're going to sit there and tell me, and I'm going to put this up really quickly here. Hold on just a second, folks. And this graphic says, you've got the questions and we've got the answers. This is Blake Tillery. He is actually chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, We can eliminate state income tax, and anyone who tells you we can't isn't willing to prioritize people over corporations. That's just not true. It's just not true. I'm telling you now, what they say is they'll end state income tax by cutting out corporate exemptions. Data centers? It's not going to happen. Hyundai? No, it's not going to happen. SK Battery? No, it's not going to happen. List goes on. Check out this video where I answer the most questions about our plan. So let me get back to this, all right? There's no way that they can erase. Look, we're already at 8%. If you go in the store today, you pay about 8%, right? You do. You pay about 8%. I think the state of Tennessee's, they don't have an income tax. I think they pay 11%. I think they pay 11%, right? And we have, you remember when we used to have tax exempt days, tax holidays, and we had to cut that out because they don't lose any money on that. But we already have 8% counties. I don't think we have 9%, but we have 8% counties. Tennessee has 11. I think it's 11. You take 4, you eliminate the state income tax, you take 4, just think about it, put that on to the 8, let's see, 8, 9, 10, that'd be 12. Then you put another 5, that's 17. So what do we end up, 17, 18%? So you go out to dinner, young family on Friday night, family of 4, and you go out, and you're going to go to Longhorns, I don't know. And immediately, you have a 17% tax, not to count the 20, 25% that you leave on a tip. So if your bill is $50, you better find another 25 till you can come up with $75. All right, folks, read. If you notice something, I want to say this. If you notice something, there's a lot of noise around a lot of things down in Atlanta, and they're getting a pass. Please, please do not let all these property tax bills happen. These people cheer. Don't cheer with these people. I'm just telling you right now, these politicians do not get on the bandwagon cheering for them or carrying their water and saying, rah, rah, rah. Period. Don't do it. So read these tax bills. We will work on them next week, I promise. So let's see, where are we at here? Now, what's next? I got to get out. Let's go to the 14th district. Now, Clay Fuller, and I just want to say this. You guys can send me messages. Clay Fuller, right, is he got endorsed by Donald Trump as the front runner. Now, I do want to say this on the 14th District of Georgia over there to replace Marjorie Taylor Green for Congress. The election's not over, people. It's not over. Just because Donald Trump endorsed Clay Fuller right here, he is the front runner now, doesn't mean he's the winner. Do not accept that. Now, yesterday I got a phone call. Mike Collin is running for Senate. Now, there's an old-fashioned, I guess I'll call it old-fashioned, but there's, you say, hey, you know what? Stay in your lane. So if you're running for state Senate, you stay in that lane. If you're running for state house, you stay in that lane. If you're running for U.S. Senate, you stay in that lane. Somebody asks you a question about another race, you say, hey, I'm running for Senate. You stay in your lane. You do not get in other races. You stay focused. So why would Mike Collin running for U.S. Senate, why would Mike Collins running for U.S. Senate endorse Clay Fuller in the 14th district? Why would he do that? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because Mike Collins doesn't want to lose every Colton Moore voter. Now let me explain this. Mike Collins is running for U.S. Senate. Mike Collins should keep his damn mouth shut. Mike Collins should stay focused on Buddy Carter. Do not count Buddy Carter out, U.S. Senate. Mike Collins should stay focused on Derek Dooley, focused on John Ossoff. But instead, his pictures on a Mike Collins endorsing Clay Fuller in the 14th. Now, Mike Collins risks losing all of Jim Tully. Hey, Jim, get out of the race. Get out of the damn race. He risks losing all of Jim Tully's voters. They may look at Derek Dooley. He risks a big block of losing Colton Moore's voters. That's right. That's a risk. Why the hell's he taking this kind of risk? He doesn't want to give a path or some kind of people starting to look at some. I had a call yesterday, said, what do you think about Buddy Carter? Because I'm really mad at Mike Collins. It's serious, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. You ever meet this guy here? You see that guy? You know who that guy is? Back there next to the doorway? Brandon Phillips. Brandon Phillips. Brandon Phillips, who is working in the Greg Dolezal for Lieutenant Governor campaign. If he's not, Greg, tell me. All right? Brandon Phillips working in Greg Dolezal's campaign for Lieutenant Governor. Brandon Phillips working in Mike Collins' campaign. Now, Brandon Phillips, for those of you that know this, this is my clear understanding. When I say clear, this is my understanding. I'm 90% sure. And when I say that, because they may have an out, a cover-up. I'll put it that way, in my opinion, the way I see it. Brandon Phillips was Mike Collins' congressional chief of staff. Brandon Phillips is under House ethics investigation right now. Mike Collins removed him from chief of staff, his congressional chief of staff, but Mike Collins, I understand, Brandon Phillips is still right in Mike Collins for Senate campaign. So that's why you see Mike Collins, and guess who else Brandon Phillips works for? Clay Fuller. Greg Dolezal. And another candidate, guess. So let's move on. That's it. That's it. Very convoluted. There's a lot going on about the AJC. I'll get into this Monday, or I might do it over the weekend and put it out there on my Substack. A lot of talk about the AJC and the Washington Post making major cuts. All right. Let me say this. If you think the AJC, this is a very, was it Cox Communication? Who owns them? And the Washington Post owned by Bezos. If you think that they want to lose control of the narrative, lose control of information, I'm going to wait, but Monday I'm going to explain these job cuts. Washington Post cut like half their staff. Let's just say this. The next generation of information manipulation from the deep state controlling the people will be AI. And that's what they're shifting to. And you don't need employees to do that. I'm going to spend all weekend I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. Who have you picked? The Pats, right? With what's the kid's name there? I call him the kid. What's the kid's name? Is the quarterback there? He's a nice kid. I don't know. I don't care. But my team. But the Patriots or the Seattle Seahawks. I could care less. But this is the most exciting. The Olympics, baby. Curling. I will be watching all weekend. Sliding the rock. I understand the halftime show at the Super Bowl is Bad Bunny. That's not Bad Bunny? I don't care. Bad Bunny. Now, I'm getting ready to do something I've never done. Are you ready? I've never done this. I've never done this. I know because I'm struggling. Please stay with me right now. Please. Okay? I have never done this before in my career. And you have heard me say I would never do it, and I don't do it. That's why I'm struggling, and that's why this is important. I've never endorsed a candidate. I've never said the words I endorse. I've never have. I refuse to. I went to the Rick Jackson for governor thing the other day. I wanted to shake his hand. I will do that. And someone said, would you like a picture? I said, no. I don't do pictures with politicians. No, I don't do that. I don't carry water. No. The 11th District, Barry Loudermilk is not running for re-election in the 11th District of Georgia, Congressional District. I don't know what we're going to get out of the 14th District, but if Clay Fuller is the congressman out of the 14th District, Georgia will not have a conservative, right, America first. He's a district attorney. I'm not going to say he's a bad guy, but we will not have the MAGA America First congressman in the 14th District if it's Clay Fuller. I'm not telling you you're going to have a bad congressman, but no. The 1st District of Georgia, not going to get it. The 10th District of Georgia, where Mike Collin is leaving, running for Senate, is going to Houston Gaines. It was a freebie. It was just handed to him. So in Georgia, we stand to lose 3 congressional districts that are just going to go moderate, the way I see it. We have a chance to shake up D.C., send a solid, qualified man of character, and it's the first time I have ever said I endorse Christopher Moore. I just have to tell you, this is an amazing guy. He's a man of his word. He stands behind his friends. He stands behind his community. He loves his community. And I want you to do me a favor. Donate to him. Get the money out of your pocket. I say it like that. Donate to the guy. Support the guy. And work. They're already putting out just the most moderate candidates to replace Barry Loudermilk. And this is a man of honor, quality, character, everything. First time ever, and I don't think I'll ever do it again, that I've said I endorse Christopher Moore. And I would hope that you guys will help, get the guy elected. I really do. I really do. Christopher Moore. And so let me say this before we close. Thank you. Thank you for the messages. I was almost in tears yesterday, and that's no joke, from starting to get messages. Glad you're back. Glad you're behind the microphone. Thank you. Okay? I sincerely I can't say it enough. Thank you. Support our Substack. Go to Vora. Here's what we're doing. Vora at BKPPolitics Substack. Subscribe today. Become a donor. Help us out. All right. Go to our Facebook page, voiceofruralamerica.com Facebook. Go to our X account, marks the spot, Voice of Rural America. Go to our YouTube, Voice of Rural America, our Rumble, Voice of Rural America. Now, if you would like for me to come speak at your GOP meeting, because I am a Republican, I do want to win in 2026. I have a message to fire up the Republican Party, all right? If you want me to come speak at your Republican Party, you can always text me, 706-889-9700. Send me an email, bkp@bkppolitics.com. I will be posting almost every day. I may post on the weekends now, the way I'm doing this, but I will be back Monday. Some days I'll be doing 20 minutes. Some days I'll be doing 40 minutes. Some days I may do 2 or 3 posts in different ones, but we're going to be on every single day now. So tell me what you think. Remember my favorite. It's a conversation. I'm BKP, voiceofruralamerica.com. This is a conversation. I will never look at the camera and say you must agree with me. In fact, nothing I enjoy anymore is when you push back or you give me your opinion. Hey, there's your opinion, there's my opinion, I'm right, and we'll work around it. It's just a joke, relax. All right? Have a good weekend. Watch the Super Bowl. Don't watch that damn Bad Bunny, SH ***. Don't do it, okay? We'll cover, I want to cover Charlie's kids and their commitment to candidates in Georgia. That's Turning Point. We'll do that Monday, all right? Watch the Super Bowl. Watch the Olympics. God bless America. All right. I used to say, Diane, we're out of here. But how about we just, we'll leave. Let's see how this works. Let's leave this way until we meet. I don't know why I did that. I promise. I'm sorry. Have a nice weekend. Adios.
What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.